As humans, one of our most basic needs is the need for sustenance, the need for food and nourishment. And so by Christ saying, "This is my body, eat of it," how much more simple does that get? Christ is telling us, you need me like you need food. That it's a basic need that every human needs. I'm a cradle Catholic, so as you grow into adulthood, you have moments where you make your faith your own. And my late teens, early 20s, I was struggling to understand the sacraments and the Eucharist and confession. I had a really wonderful conversation with a priest in the confessional, actually, which is a really apt place to be learning about the sacraments. And he really said something that struck me and I think created a whole new perspective for me. He said that Christ became man and he understands human nature better than we tend to think in our day-to-day lives. And the sacraments can often appear to be these big, mysterious things that are hard to grasp, and they can feel distant because of that. But he reminded me that because Christ was human and he knew what our needs are, that when he left this earth, he left the sacraments because he knew how we needed to stay connected to him. And that all of a sudden made the sacraments feel so approachable and so much less far away and easy to understand. And I felt closer to Jesus.
And how better to make it something that is so really intrinsically understood by living human beings than you need food to survive, and food gives you life. The Eucharist gives you eternal life, and it's just so simple, even we could do it.
And then when you think about other roles that food plays in our society, we celebrate with food, we feast with food, we commemorate joyous experiences with food. And so the Eucharist and the Mass as the ultimate feast, the ultimate celebration, is another way that it's all of a sudden so simple to understand. You know, we have a birthday or Thanksgiving or Christmas or any celebration we have, a wedding, there's always food involved because we understand how intrinsic the feast is to celebrating. And when we celebrate with the Eucharist, we're celebrating our personal relationship with Jesus.
I was born and raised Catholic, but came back much closer to the church in my later days. And what allowed that to happen, I think, was an understanding of belonging and the feeling that that seat at the table was ready for me. And it was very specific to me. So when the right time in my life came around where I started to realize that somebody's pulling out that chair at the table for me, it just made that much more sense. And for me, it felt like being welcomed right to the dinner table with my family, which is pretty universal. People understand pretty well.
If you feel like it's too big of a mystery and you just don't get it, I would encourage you to think of it in as simple of terms as possible. You know, and your body needs inherently food. And you know that your soul knows inherently that it needs Jesus. And Jesus, in his loving understanding of us as humans, has honestly tried to make it as simple as possible for us to understand such a mystery. He doesn't want us to feel
left out.
Yeah, like it's difficult to connect with him. He's trying to make it as easy as possible. So he brings it down to the most basic of human needs and lets us just bask in that simplicity.
So if you think you understand it, odds are good that you probably understand it as well as he would ever intend for us to.
And if you think that you don't, it might be a lot simpler than you think.